Marco Galperin, thank you very much for being here today. It's a huge honor for us to be able to have you in this extremely important event for Globant. And I would love to put a frame on everything that we are doing today, in which we're talking about reinvention, and we're talking about how the next generation technologies will affect everything that we do in pretty much every single aspect of our lives. But before going into that, I would love to know a little bit more about this massive story about creating a company that is worth $110 billion or approximately like that, with 100 million users, total leader in Latin America, selling more than all the supermarkets in Latin America or something like that. So I would love to know more about that entrepreneurial story to kick it off.
Okay, thanks, Martin. Very happy to be here. Yes, the story of Mercado Libre as Globant is a story of entrepreneurship. We started 25 years ago, and very much tied to the birth of the internet and the consumer internet. We started as a consumer-to-consumer auction site of used items, and then we pivoted from there to become the largest online marketplace in Latin America, the largest retailer in Latin America, and on the way we created a payments platform and a payments solution initially to be able to facilitate the settlement of these auctions within the Mercado Libre platforms. But then we realized there was a huge demand for other websites that wanted to do online payments. So we opened this solution to everyone, and then we went from being online on websites to being on mobile phones, and then we went from being digital payments online to being also offline with point of sales. And then we went from being a payments company to being a full-fledged fintech company. Today we have over $10 billion of assets under management, over 15 million users with loans outstanding. So we issue loans, we issue credit cards, debit cards, we enable investments. Again, very much like Mercado Libre, that started being an auction company of used items, to being the largest retailer in Latin America. Mercado Pago, which is our payments app, also evolved and became today the largest fintech in Latin America. Very.
And all that in 25 years.
25 years. And as you well imagine, with all the technology changes that are still going on and the growth of our industry, we really believe that in the next 25 years, we will see much more growth and much more evolution than what we have seen in the last 25 years. So we are really expecting a lot of changes, and I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about that later today with AI, and other things that are happening in our industry that I think will continue to, make sure that we need to execute and be very alert of all the things that are happening.
One of the most intriguing things for me, and I think our audience will value a lot, is to understand that reinvention that happened from that peer-to-peer, second-hand auction company into, a full-fledged, retailer, the largest retailer in the region. There's a lot of thought process on that, and there's a lot of, not just ambition, but also a lot of ways of thinking a company forward. And I would love to understand a little bit more about that reinvention, capabilities that Mercado Libre created.
That's a great question. I think it's part of our DNA. Part of it is really being very tuned to where the users are going to skate towards where the puck is going, not where it is. Always trying to understand what users want today, what do you think users will want tomorrow. Also looking a lot at the industry not only our industry, but technology in general, what the things that are happening. Many of the things that we're doing today were not possible technologically, in 1999 when we started. So it took a lot of effort. It took a lot of effort in many fronts. Sometimes we listened to our users. Other times we had an intuition of the things we needed to build, and almost trusting that if we build it, they will come. And then there was a lot of trial and error. Trial and error is very much a part of our DNA. It's always trying something new, taking risks, making sure that we are always a little bit uncomfortable, always trying something that we're not quite sure it's going to work. And that is part of our DNA, always being a little bit uncomfortable with what, let's say we're doing 10 things, there have to be 2 or 3 that we're not really certain how they're going to work out. And then when they don't work out, which is always the case with 2 or 3, 20-30% of our projects will not work out, making sure we take the right conclusions of those failures. And typically the wrong conclusion is, it's a wrong idea, it doesn't work. Typically the right conclusion is, it was a wrong implementation, the idea was right, maybe it's a wrong time, or it's a wrong implementation. And we need to insist, we need to persevere, we need to try it a different way. So that's how we went pivoting from being, consumer to consumer auction site of used items to having, to being probably one of the largest, if not the largest, seller of Apple and Nike and, the largest brands in Latin America. We have over 2 million people that make a living selling on our platform, and 100 million people that use our applications on a monthly basis. And still there are 600 million people in Latin America. So the opportunity going forward, I think, is still very, very large.
Impressive. I heard one time Reid Hoffman saying that if you're not a little bit embarrassed with the application you're building, you are a little bit too late.
Yes.
And I think that has been like a very important thing for us in the development of many of the things that we develop for our customers. But listening to you and understanding that now that application, that mobile application that I use every day here in Latin America, now it's having 100 million consumers, and the efficiency that it has, the amount of things that you can do. Even now you can watch videos, right?
Yeah.
And now you have all the ads vertical happening, and I would love to understand a little bit more about how building that kind of applications has been conceived inside Mercado Libre.
Well, we started with a technology DNA from day zero. Today we have 18,000 engineers in Latin America, focused only in this region, and I think that's part of our key competitive advantages, that we're really focused on that. And still with that, we feel like it's not enough. We have so many things to do, and we are not able to really execute all of the initiatives that we want to have done. One of the key decisions that we took a long time ago, that it has enabled us to execute faster, is we started being a monolithic application, based on Oracle, and then the internet really developed, and we were in a situation. Then the mobile internet appeared, and the apps ecosystem appeared, and we realized that we could no longer continue to grow with that kind of software architecture. And we really transferred from that monolithic application to an application, based on services, where every different area, has their own independence, and they talk to each other through APIs. And that was a huge reinvention for us. It took us probably more than 2 years to really transform all of our technology. Probably it was between 2 and 3 years.
But even being a digitally native company.
Exactly. It took us between 2 and 3 years. And more importantly, during that time, we almost were not able to do any new feature, any new development, because it was mostly reconverting our existing application to the new software platform. But after that, we really were able to start, because to do software upgrades, it took us, we could do one every 2 or 3 weeks, because we need to compile everything and make sure that there were no mistakes. And every time we were launching an upgrade, it was like, will it work? Something will go wrong? Now we do literally hundreds of upgrades every day, and nobody even knows what other people are doing. Everybody talks through APIs. So that has really enabled us to move faster and innovate faster.
You mentioned something about the next generation of technologies, about AI, which is, in my opinion, the next, big explosion of things. I mean, the first thing happened with mobile, when the mobiles appear, with internet first, mobiles, then social networks, then. And after that, I think maybe crypto, but there's not many other technologies that has had such a high impact as AI has. I read an OpenAI case that you published together with OpenAI, Mercado Libre and OpenAI.
Yes.
About the next generation products and things that you are building there. I would love to know more about your thoughts and how AI will impact Mercado Libre's business.
Yeah, so we think this is, as you said, this is likely to be one of these transformational moments in the technology world. And as we did with all the prior ones, even crypto, which today hasn't really disrupted our industry as much as at some point in time we thought it could, we are embracing AI big time. And we're doing it in different areas. So I would say if you're looking at our P&L in the both in the cost reduction area and in the revenue enhancing area, and then in the not looking at our P&L, if you want, looking at the quality of our product, we believe AI can help us dramatically improve the quality of how we create software, how we create technology. So what we're doing specifically with OpenAI is this platform that is basically going to help our developers, conversationally create software without really having to input any code, basically telling the machine what you want to do. So that's one aspect. We expect that will help us grow our productivity in terms of developers dramatically. Then in terms of cost reduction, we are seeing implementations of large language models in our customer service and fraud prevention areas. We have over 10,000 people doing that. And we think we will continue having these people, but we think we will be able to do many more things than the ones we have been able to do until now, and in a much better way, with a much higher quality of response to our users. For example, we're already deploying, and this is live. There's an area that has 500 people that basically they do what we call mediation. So when we were a marketplace, the buyer has bought something, they say they received it, and the phone had a scratch. The seller saying no, the phone was perfect, and the courier saying I delivered it without any issue. So who's responsible for this scratch? It's very hard to do, and oftentimes both the buyer and the seller are frustrated, or the carrier is frustrated, and we have created this platform that basically lets the machine make a decision, and it works really well, surprisingly well. And it's a very complex situation. If necessary, the machine asks the buyer, send me a picture. It looks at the picture, it understands what type of problem there was. It makes a decision whether it's a problem based on this buyer responsibility, the seller responsibility. Then it talks to the seller. Then if necessary, it talks to the carrier. And it's giving us very good results. So we think that if with these very complex situations, that many times when you're using people, you need to scale it up to 2 or 3 levels of seniority. This can work. We think this it can be very helpful going forward.
Marcos, when I read the solution that you did with Verdi and
Yes. But it's our platform with OpenAI.
yeah, and I was when I took a look at it, it was like the LLMs like confined with a lot of contextual information to take very simple decisions in a chain of decisions, even calling a human if that's the case. And the big discussion was: is everything about training a large language model or making the large language models to do small things with a lot of contextual information? Which is the option that you think would
Well,
be
for us, it clearly has needed a lot of adaptation and programming. It's not like, okay, now we have this large language model, and we can use it, and it's gonna developers will be able to conversationally create software. So we have had to work a lot, and we're still working a lot to create this platform that, in a way, diminishes errors, possibilities of hallucinations, and is useful for us. It's customized for us. So I think that it requires today at least a lot of customization.
the future of Meli? I know it's in your head. You don't need to reveal anything, but the future of Meli, what's left to be done still?
No, I think, as I was saying at the beginning, I think the next 25 years are going to bring much more change and evolution and growth to Mercado Libre than what we have seen in the last 25 years. In the last 25 years, we went from being 5 guys literally in a garage to having 100 million users and 75,000 employees. I think we're going to reach 200 million users substantially faster than in 25 years. And I think that, our marketplace business is going to continue to evolve. We're going to continue to add different verticals that today are perhaps not that big. And we're going to continue improving the service. Today we have airplanes and trucks and vans. We're going to have, obviously, drones and driverless vehicles, and all these things are going to be incorporated.
Being the most iconic entrepreneur in the region and one of the most iconics in the world, and having built what you built, Marcos, what inspires you? How do you want to affect? I mean, of course, you're affecting with Mercado Libre.
Yeah.
And with Endeavor, we're together. But
I'm fascinated by technology. I really believe that through technology, we can improve the way we organize ourselves as societies, as groups of people, to do things in a substantially better way. I mean, how we have improved people's lives in terms of commerce and finance is dramatic. I mean, we've enabled people that live in the middle of the jungle or the desert or the mountains in Latin America to be able to buy with one click whatever product they want, and they will get it maybe, if they live really far away, maybe in 48 hours. They get free shipping and free financing. Those people, 20 years ago, they were excluded from accessing products. And the same thing for sellers. Small sellers now compete head to head with the largest retail chains in the region, and we offer them logistics and financing, and we give them all this traffic and all these buyers. So we have dramatically changed the lives of, today, hundreds of millions of 100 million users. And I think that we can continue to leverage technology to improve the way people lived throughout Latin America for many, many years. And that is, for me, is very inspiring.
Marcos, has been an honor to have you at our Converge event, our flagship event. And really looking forward to keep on doing things together.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure to be
here. Thank you.